welcome to Liz Rocks and Stuff. I'm Liz, and it's time for episode 93 of What's in My Tumbler. We are starting out with Purple People Eater. This is the last of my red and blue Tiger's Eye, and you guys actually get to see the two new barrels I started last week since I forgot to record them, but I got them here. So, first off, we are going to rinse off all of that brown slurry from the Tiger's Eye. I think it's interesting how Tiger's Eye has a brown slurry all the time. And I know there's a reason for it. I've heard the reason for it. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but there is a reason why Tiger's Eye slurry is always brown. Doing a quick inspection here, just making sure nothing is massively chipped or broken so that it doesn't damage things later on. There are, I believe, 2 pieces of quartz in here. I'm sure I put them in there for filler. I forgot that I put them in there, but they're in there and they're looking fine. So I'm using gravel for filler here. I'm liking using aquarium gravel for filler over ceramic in certain situations. I think ceramic is better for softer things, but for harder stuff like Tiger's Eye and agate and stuff, this aquarium gravel actually works pretty well. So we put in a tablespoon of ivory soap because this is going to go into a bath cycle. And the top of that barrel is looking awful. I think I've rewritten the name on it a few times and it's rubbing somewhere and it just looks awful. But that's okay. So I tumbled that for a few hours. We're going to get the soap all rinsed off. I haven't gotten the question recently, so I guess I don't really need to answer it. But I use ivory soap because I find that it works better. But you do have to be careful because ivory soap can leave a waxy residue. And it can ruin the finish on your rocks. So some people prefer to use borax. I limit my borax use because it is toxic for plants. It will kill your grass. And I don't want it to do that. So that's why I choose to use ivory soap in between stages. And then I use borax with the stages. And then for a burnish afterwards. So this is going into final polish. So this will be done next week. And I have a few plans on what I'm going to do next week. I can't decide if I'm going to go ahead and start the purpurite because I think I've decided how I want to do that. Or if I'm going to start another batch that I finally got everything I need for that I've been planning for a while. So now we're going to go to Opal Serpent. This is Moonstone and green serpentine, and it's called Opal Serpent because when I started this, I thought the moonstone was opal. I couldn't remember what I had ordered and what I had. It's not labeled. It was from Kingsley North. Kingsley North? Yeah. And they don't tell you what's in the bag. They just have the item number. So I was like, I don't know, this is maybe opal. But it's actually moonstone. And some green serpentine. So this is again doing an inspection, making sure that nothing in here is chipped or broken. Everything's actually looking pretty good. And this is currently in stage 2. So it will be going into stage 3. And I didn't do a good rinse on that, but that's okay because it's going into a wash cycle, a cleaning cycle, which will take care of all of that residue. That's the whole purpose of doing a rinsing cycle between stages is it gets all of the excess grit off of your rocks and make sure that you're not carrying grit in between your batches, your stages, because that will also ruin a finish pretty quickly. Alright, so now that tumbled for a while, it looks actually pretty clean. Wasn't too upset about that. And now we're going to get it all rinsed off. And put it back in the barrel. There was something I forgot to do this week in one of my barrels, and I'll tell you when it happens, but I did fix it because I noticed it. I realized it shortly after, but I fixed it off camera. So, this is already polished gravel, so it's safe for me to add it at this stage because it's already been through stage 4, so it's not too rough. It's actually fairly smooth. And now I'm putting in the stage 3 grit, 3 tablespoons of stage 3 grit, 1 tablespoon of borax, as per usual. And then this is all ready to go. And I don't really have anything to talk about this week. I'm not being very talkative because I just don't have any side tangents to go off on. If anybody's curious, we did actually end up naming our puppy finally. a couple weeks ago. We named her Yuna, which is from an anime called Kuma 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 Bear. All right, so now Fossick Ep2. So this is the two of the rocks from the second subscription box from Fossick. So this is Texas sea maggot and A+ grade petrified wood. So I'm going to get these rinsed off. I did use gravel for cushioning here because I didn't have quite enough to fill a barrel. So now I'm going to sort these for ready for stage 2 in the cup. Need more time in stage 1 in the barrel. And I will actually be quiet while this sort happens. Alright, so nothing really needed any more time in stage 1, so we're going to go ahead and move all of this over into stage 2. So I'm going to start off by doing a wash cycle. I'm going to add in all of that aquarium gravel back, and then we're going to do a tablespoon of ivory soap and some water, and put this in a wash cycle. Alright, everything is all washed now, so as we did with the other ones, I'm just going to do a rinse. No need to inspect at this point because they were all just inspected and found ready for stage 2. These I think are good. This is going to be a fun batch. I really like the look of these rocks. The sea maggot is really interesting looking, and some of the petrified wood, I love the colors of it. It's really cool. I'm glad that I got this subscription box, by the way. I cannot recommend this subscription box enough. I have the Don't Take My Tumbler for Granted level, which is a $30 box every 3 months. And they send you about a half pound each of 3 different types of rocks. And it's a surprise what you get. And I've gotten both of their boxes so far. I have not been disappointed in the slightest with any of it. So even they've sent me one rock that I've tumbled before. Everything else has been new stuff that I've never. Well, I've done petrified wood before, but not this grade quality of petrified wood. So it's all been mostly new stuff for me too, so which is really nice. All right, this is mixed stripes. This is African striped jasper and mixed agates. This also came from Wee Fossick, Miko's Mine. You can tell because they cut their rocks. They don't crush it, which actually I like better. I feel like they tumble faster, first of all. Most of them only need a week in the stage 1. And they look better. I feel like you can see the colors, you can see the stripes and the features of the rocks a lot better when they're cut. So I actually really like Wee Fossick, Miko's Mine. I feel like their rocks are really good quality, and I've loved everything I've gotten from them. So this is sorting. There have been a couple of things I put in, might need more time in stage 1. Most of that was just things that had the outer part of the rock on it that was a little bit rough, but nothing that absolutely had to have more time in stage 1. So I'm going to move everything onto stage 2, just like I did with the other batch. So we are going to put some water. By the way, if you missed it, I forgot to put water in the Fossick episode 2 barrel. I did go back and put water in it before I started tumbling it, but yeah. I closed that thing up with some grit and some borax and no water. But anyway, we're going to get mixed stripes through a wash cycle again, like we did with the last one. I don't always wash between stage 1 and 2. In this case, because nothing got set aside to soak, everything's going straight from 1 to 2. I prefer to do a wash cycle in this situation, but if I have rocks that I've been tumbling over time that they've kind of been put in, I keep my rocks in water when they're in storage, so I don't always wash those. But Some people wash every time. I don't. Most of the time, but not every time. So put in a little ceramic for just some filler. I do have some more of the mixed agates, but I'll use those as filler in other batches. So now we got a tablespoon of borax, 3 tablespoons of stage 2 grit, water, and then this is ready to go. So that's all my barrels for this week. Next week, the purple people eater will be done, and that will be all of my purple people eater finished because I've been doing that one for a minute. Week after that will be Opal Serpent will be done, and then these guys will be done a week after that. So we've got a lot of finished barrels coming up. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them. But anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and I hope to see you back next week.